Good afternoon, Peter Sawkins.
Afternoon. How are
How
you
are
doing,
you?
Martin?
I'm all right. It's been a long time since I saw you, and I think the last time was in Castlebrae playing a league match. It was actually quite. Feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? Badminton.
Yeah, it feels ages ago. I'm excited to get back to that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think everybody's the same. It's so frustrating. Have you been doing anything at all, like garden stuff or anything, or what? I saw you playing in the
Yeah,
garden on Bake Off. That was quite funny.
yeah. The Bake Off badminton scene with my brother. That was an interesting one. No, we've been quite lucky. The club I'm at the uni, we were able to play for sort of about 3 months or something, just before the end of the year. So we've got a decent amount of badminton in, but now obviously nothing on right now.
Was that just singles?
Yeah, it was just singles.
And where do you stay? Do you live with anybody else that plays badminton, or are you just living at home with your mum and dad, or where do you stay?
Yeah, so I'm at home right now with my folks, but then when I'm at university, I stay with other badminton folk, so people from the club.
So you could, so could you play doubles then?
Yeah, so we actually got a couple games of doubles because we were a single household with the four folk. So we did get a couple of them going last year. Not many, but it was nice to play the different style of game again.
Yeah, it's mad. And was that in the you're at the Pleasance? Is that where the university is that where you go, or to Crags?
Yeah, we use Pleasance and St. Leonard's, two
What's
uni
it
halls.
called? Oh, that's good. Are they good facilities? I've never seen them before actually, because they're university. You never get. I guess the Joe public doesn't get to go, do they?
Yeah, I think because there's so many different clubs at the university that are vying for space to use the halls, it's sort of kind of difficult to get other people in. It'd be nice to host some matches there at some point. The Pleasance Hall's a really nice one, so it'd be nice to get some games going in there sometime.
And what year are you in, Pete?
I'm in my third year of the degree, so 1.5 more to go.
What are you doing actually?
It's accounting and finance.
Wow. You want to be an accountant?
Yeah, that's been the plan.
And
Yeah.
has that changed any since the I have to cover Bake Off, I guess. I have to say I've been thinking about Bake Off, and I think I was thinking about what I could ask you about baking. I said to my wife, said to Becky before we started, I thought, what can I ask Pete about baking? And I started thinking, I thought, like me asking you about baking is like somebody from baking asking you about badminton, probably quite similar. What's a nice bun? The only thing I could think of was the badminton shuttlecock that you made out of a cake.
Yeah.
I actually Googled it and I thought if he played with shuttles like that, he'd be in big trouble.
Yeah, he was yeah, a cartoon a cartoon version, probably not a very lifelike shuttle there. You'd struggle to play with it.
It was quite. I suppose that on the subject, one question Becky did have, I guess, is that I think normally with Bake Off, you go down during the week, you go down and come home at weekends. Is that right? But am I right in saying you're residential? Did you actually stay there for the whole time it was recording? And how long was that as well?
Yeah, so we were locked in there for 7, 8 weeks, I think.
The way
We
you
had
said
to
that, the way you said that, we were locked in there for 7, 8 weeks.
I know it was great fun. It was
Oh,
sort of the
excuse me. I've lost my camera. 1 second. I've something's happened. My technology's not working right. Hold on. This isn't great, is it? Not very professional. You don't get this on. You don't get this on wherever it was you've been on. Blue Peter. Yeah, I need to ask you about your Blue Peter badge. I've got to ask you about that.
Mhm.
So yeah. Sorry. Can you see me again? Is that all right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
I'm
see you.
back. Right. Sorry about that. So yeah. So you lived in and you locked in for 7, 8 weeks. So you were just. So what's the routine? You get up in the morning. You go and bake. What?
Yeah, so we would film for 2 days. So we'd do the signature and technical day one, the showstopper day two, and then we'd have 2 days off and we'd practice baking. There was some practice tents set up and just sort of chill out a bit as well, relax.
Practice
Because the
tense.
filming days,
How do you mean practice tense? There was another tent, or
yeah, so they built two practice tents in the hotel grounds
wow,
that were kind of similar to the main tent, a bit less fancy and not as much nice scenery and sort of design to it, but almost looks a bit like a field hospital, but with kitchens in it. It was quite fun.
not quite as glamorous. It's not what it looks, I suppose, when you watch it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not quite as glamorous as the real thing.
So the whole thing was able. So you cook Monday, Tuesday, and what did you do when you weren't cooking? Then was it a spa hotel? It looked like one.
Yeah, the spa wasn't open, unfortunately,
Oh,
but there were nice grounds. So, we just, and the weather was great. It was during a bit of a heat wave in the summer, so we
that's
could just
right.
relax. I tried to get a bit of exercise in so I could clear my head. But we just had a nice sort of chilled out time and tried to relax together, chatted, had a couple drinks. It was good. It was really
Was
good
there
fun.
was there a bar and stuff or what? What kind of was this? All the staff working like normal? What I mean, what is? I guess you have special staff just for it, just for
Yeah,
the event because
so
there's nobody else there, right?
yeah, the hotel staff all had to be locked in with us as well. So there was 20 something hotel staff that were running the place and in the kitchen, making really good food. It was amazing food and keeping the place in good shape. And then we had the crew as well, so all the camera guys, the sound guys, production. So there's 120 odd people, I think,
Really?
in the bubble. So it was a really nice group to be around, and everyone was quite glad to have a job, to be able to kind of get
Yeah.
to know each other after months of lockdown.
The
So it was
bubble
really
with
good fun.
other people at least, right? At least you've got other people around you. You're not on your own. And even the crew. Everybody's in their house on the one other person. To be actually in a bubble with 400 people is, or to 120 people. Sorry, I'm actually going back to thinking about that party last night in London on the news. Anyway, let's get on to badminton because that's what you're here for, right? Okay, I want
Yeah,
to. I'm very interested to hear about badminton. So, your full name, Peter Sawkins. Is there a middle name at all?
yeah. Peter Edward Sawkins.
And is there any relevance to that?
My granddad was called Edward.
Nice, cool. And your age?
I'm 20.
20, cool. And are you from Edinburgh? What is your home area officially? Is it Edinburgh? Is that you originally from? Or?
Yeah, Edinburgh.
That's
Always.
handy for. Did you not when you started uni? You're at Edinburgh Uni, right?
Mhm.
Did you not have temptation to go anywhere else? Was it just Edinburgh all the time, or what did you think?
I looked around everywhere in Scotland, for tuition, um, and just Edinburgh was the place that I wanted to go. I love the city, and I'm really happy at the uni. Yeah.
How is it living in Edinburgh? I guess having a flat in Edinburgh and your parents being in Edinburgh is quite handy. I'm thinking, well, my son's at the top of Leith and we're in Peebles, and even getting to Peebles, to Edinburgh from Peebles at the moment, especially, is a nightmare. But at least you can go home, right? Is that well? I suppose I don't know if you can at the moment. Oh, you've
Yeah,
got
so
dogs at home, yeah.
not right now, but it's been quite nice because my folks can come in, meet me for a coffee. So that's just been a nice thing to do.
Really cool, really cool. And sorry, brothers and sisters.
I've got one older brother.
What age is he, Pete?
He's 22. I think that's right.
So 2 years older. And he does
Yes.
he play badminton as well?
No, he doesn't. He's a swimmer. He
Oh, okay.
swims competitively.
Did he ever play badminton?
No, so I mean, we've played a bit when we were younger together, and we like kind of just all sports. So we played a bit. We were in the boys' brigade, and we played boys' grade badminton together. So we
Did he?
were in the same team for that. Slightly different level to most of the badminton scene, but that was good fun still.
What's the boys' brigade? The boys' brigade have a badminton team. What? Sorry, you need to enlighten me on the boys' brigade. What is the boys' brigade?
The boys' grade is just like it's a youth organization, kind of similar to Scouts. Scouts formed out of the boys' brigade.
Right.
Um,
And is there an age group kind of thing, Pete? What's it cover?
yeah, so it's from 6 to 18, and so it's quite broad. I was in the BBs for 11 years, I think. It's a nice organization to be a part of.
And they do all sorts. There's badminton is obviously one of them. Is there clubs for all sorts of things like football and, as you say, swimming and all that stuff as well?
Yeah, so there's like competitions within the boys' brigade for it's like a quiz team thing. There's badminton, there's football. Yeah, there's a whole host of stuff, and you just get to do lots of different activities within your company. And you get to travel around, play against other boys' brigade companies. It's really good fun.
Sounds amazing. Like as you say, I can imagine it now. Like scouts, and is there how many groups are there in Scotland? Do you know? I take you travel around Scotland, right?
Yeah, yeah. We
So
actually
you,
did
you,
a yeah we did a bit around the whole UK. We with the badminton, it was kind of a UK national competition. So we won. We had quite a stacked badminton team for the boys' brigade. So we won the national one 3 times, I think. So we got to go
Wow,
to Leicester and Northern Ireland, which was fun.
amazing.
There's quite a few teams involved.
Do you know any other? Do you know any other badminton players that are boys' brigade players?
Yeah. So from our section, it's, myself, David Kong, um, Jason Wang, who's another person around our age, and then over in Largs, Callum Crangle was a part of
Obviously.
Boys
What's he?
Brigade.
I know him well. Yeah.
Yes. So we first met him through Boys Brigade Badminton.
Wow. Really good players as well. You're talking about here, right?
Yeah, it was quite a nice level. Yeah.
And was there coaching involved in that? Did you get better through that, or was there a coach and all that, or what? Was it just
Uh,
natural?
no, it was a bit more of kind of turn up and play and have fun. It was sort of just fortunate that we had people
Yes.
that actually played badminton to go into this.
It wasn't part of the boys' brigade thing to teach you how to play badminton and then you get really good kind of thing. You were a badminton player and you went to the boys' brigade kind of idea, right?
Yeah, that was kind of it.
I see. So you went to, I guess you went to boys' brigade on certain nights and then you played badminton on certain nights. And what was that like? What was the, I'm going to go back to the questions now. Brothers and sisters. So your brother, what's your brother called?
He's called Andrew.
Andrew. And he's a swimmer, right? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And was that so? Yeah, did he played badminton up to a certain time and then kind of went into swimming, or did he swim as well as well?
No, so I might be getting ahead of myself here, but it's how I got into badminton
Yes.
was because of him swimming. So he had training on a Sunday night at Drumbray Leisure Centre, and I had to be dragged along because I was too young to be left at home. And there was a badminton club running on at the same time, so I just started going to the badminton club, and that's how I fell into it.
Isn't that amazing? Do you remember anybody that was at the club at that time?
Yeah, so it was run by an amazing woman called Isa, um, and there was I can't quite remember, but it was a really lovely club, and it was just
Did it
first
say
time I
Sunday?
got
Did
to
it say Sunday night?
Sunday night. Yeah,
Wow. So you're not
uh,
probably not talking about that long ago, is it? How long ago is that?
that was 10 years ago that I started.
That's amazing. And does Isa still play?
I think so. It's been a while since I've seen her, but yeah, I need to go back soon.
I think I might know who you're talking about. Yeah. When we're so what age when you was that when you first started playing? Then 10. So your brother was going to swimming, and you thought, you know, I'm going to hang about here, and you started looking on the courts, and you saw people playing badminton. Is that it?
That's it. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? And then did you love it straight away, or when did it become a thing, or how long did you do that for?
So I played there for about 3 years. I think after a year and a half, 2 years, I started playing a couple competitions and I went to a few more training sessions. I went to Douglas Walker at Wester Hales,
Did you?
and got into did Lothian squad at that point and sort of switched on to doing it a bit more competitively. I think at about 12 to 13.
And did you tour and all that stuff? Where were you getting coaching? Was it just with Douglas Walker? Did you go anywhere else, or did you ever think about taking it further as well? Because you're obviously an exceptional player. Did you ever think about taking it further as well, or like going
Um,
into, I guess, coaching in Glasgow, all that stuff as people do?
so I I went to Sports Academy, which is like a sort of setup in the southeast, and that was really good with
Is
Julie
that
Hogg.
Inverclyde? Sorry, is that Inverclyde?
No, it's in Edinburgh,
Oh, is it?
Edinburgh Sports
Or is
Academy.
it? It's all right. Ah.
So that's a really good setup with some really great coaches. And then I was invited along to do some sparring with the regional national squad, sort of not in the squad, but training alongside them, sort of being pushed further than I really deserved to be. But it really helped me press on,
France, yeah.
uh, and that's sort of the point that I got to. That was kind of how far through I got.
Tell me about that sports academy. What is that?
Yeah, the Sports Academy is run by the council. It's for people in state schools in the Edinburgh area. They do different sports. They've got basketball, rugby, badminton, and cricket. And it's just a really good setup with high level coaching. You get a bit of gym coaching on the side as well, which is very useful. So the coaches that I had through that, amazing. It was Julie Hogg, Lyndon Williams, Dimitri, Sarah Bock, Alan Oliver did some coaching, and a few more. So it was a really great setup, and it really kind of pushed me on quite far. And I think it has done for a lot of people in the area as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how many times a week would you get that? When you went to that, how long were you there? How many times a week was it?
So that was 2 or 3 times a week. So there was like a development squad and a performance squad. And then there was a point where I was bridging. So I would do both the development and the performance squad setting. So I get 3 sessions that week.
Oh,
But each of them you get gym time and court time.
yeah, that's awesome, isn't it?
Mm.
Sounds absolutely awesome. It sounds like you properly fell in love with it back in Drumbury while your brother was swimming.
Yeah,
That's great. It's quite funny, isn't it? Why and where did you start playing? So Drumbury and brother swimming and board hanging about. I like
exactly.
that. Do you remember your first ever racket?
So the first time that I ever played, we were playing with sort of toy rackets that we had from like a beach set, I think. But then I still used the kind of first proper racket that I got. I got it for Christmas one year, and it was this Prince Smash TI. And I still have that racket in my bag, and it
Oh, it
comes out when,
sounds really impressive. TI sounds absolutely awesome. But so, what was the first club? Yeah. So what was the where did you play when you went to the coaching? Where was that? The sports academy. Where did they do that?
so the sports academy was split between Foresters and Telford College at Granton.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I haven't actually been to that. Is that good? Courts in Granton? Are they good?
Yeah, it's good, and it's got sort of I think they do a bit of sports science at the college there, so it's got quite nice facilities. Yeah, it's good for sport.
I've never played. That's one place I've never played. Never even thought of playing there, to be honest with you. So, what was the name of your first ever club that you went to?
So it was the Sunday night at Drumbray, and I don't think it really had a name. It was
How many
just
people went as well? Do you remember?
probably like 20 or 30. It was quite nice. Quite
Anybody your age at the time like that? Because you were quite young, I guess, right?
yeah. So there was a kids section, which had probably 5 or 6 folk, and then there was an adult one that you kind of graduated into at some point, where there's 20 or 30 people that went along, I think.
And how many courts? There's four courts in there, isn't there, John Bray?
Yeah, I think it's an 8 court hall, but we had half of it, so I think we had 4 courts.
Sounds awesome. And was there anybody around that time? I asked this question a lot. Is there anybody around that time that pushed you forwards that you played against that you couldn't beat? That was maybe a little bit older than you. Was there anybody like that that kind of drove you forwards like that? Do you think at that age?
Um, the sort of yeah, there's a load of people that were beating me by a huge amount.
That's good, isn't it?
Um,
That's good. I think. I think that's good
I
for you.
think Ewan Matheson was in the Lothian setup, and he was always a very, very good player. So I was always trying to come up and get close to him. So I think he was quite a good person in competition for me to aim for.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting beaten at badminton regularly. I think you're probably better getting beat than winning quite a lot of times. So would you say you and Matthew, and were you playing singles? What was the event? Singles or doubles? What did you prefer?
I got better results in doubles because I think I was playing with people that were better than me, so they pull you up. Uh,
Who was
but
that?
yeah,
Did you have a partner, Pete?
at school
Regular.
I played a lot with David Kong. Uh, at school, he was at the same school as me, and so he kind of dragged me on quite a bit. He was of a higher level than me, so that was nice to have.
Sorry, can I ask why was that? Why was he of a higher level than you? Did he were they similar? Were you the same age, or was he a bit older, or had he been playing for longer? What? Why was he
He was a bit
better?
older, had been playing for a bit longer, but we worked really well together, and we just had fun on court. It was always good fun, and I always wanted to try my best, and we got some good results.
Did you?
Yeah,
Awesome. What was the name of your first club? So Drumbray. Do you remember how much it cost? Do you remember that?
I don't know, couple maybe like 4 or 5 quid a session, something like that.
That's fairly just like normal, I suppose. See, most of the people I've been interviewing, Pete, have been like in their 40s and 50s. So like people have been playing, saying like 7 shillings and stuff like that. I'm only joking. They're not that old. But yeah, it's been a lot cheaper. How often do you play? Do you remember how often and how often did you play? So how many times typically around when you first started, were you playing like 3 and 4 times a week?
No, so for the first year, I was just playing once a week, and then that kind of ramped up until I suppose by the time that I was 14, I think I was probably playing 5 times a week.
Really?
So it really picked up
Yeah. Look, well, so that's like after school every night virtually, right?
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember how the shuttles you used? Do you remember the shuttles that you used to play with? Drumbury even?
Shuttles, they use feathers right from the start there. So it was very, very lucky and
It's so spoiled.
yeah, very
Uh,
much so.
and your first official coaching was that the sports academy, or was
Uh,
there somebody else
for,
that?
I think official coaching, probably Douglas Walker at Wester Hills.
Yeah, it's amazing. Have you watched his videos?
I haven't actually, but I'm sure they're going to be
They're
there's going to be a wealth of information and stories in them.
Yeah, the first one's mostly about his history and why he started playing, and he's from Leith, kind of Bonington area. It's very interesting. And then he moved out to obviously. So the second one, because we get 35 minutes effectively, which I'm going to run out for you. And he's the first one was about history, and then after that was into coaching. The second one, so it's all about kind of for budding coaches. I know you're keen on coaching, so you can maybe watch it. Do you remember your first ever tournament and trophy?
First tournament was Edinburgh Schools, um, and senior secondary schools, and I recall I very well recall being absolutely destroyed by Callum Atterbury 21-5. And he's now a teammate and friend at the university. But I do recall that being my first competition and my first loss
Yeah,
was
and did
getting
he?
absolutely destroyed.
What was that name? Colin Asbury.
Callum Atterbury.
Callum Atterbury, sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Callum Atterbury, good. Most successful. That's interesting. And do you try and beat him now?
Yeah,
Do you play
try
against him?
fail most of the time.
Yeah. You're closer though. I bet you get more than 5 now.
I get more than 5. I can proudly say that.
Excellent. What was your successful event? Most successful? You said doubles, really, right?
Yeah, double.
Yeah. Okay. What was it? And so David Kong was your best partner, I suppose, right?
Yeah, he's who I played with most growing up. Yeah.
That's awesome. And do you still play with him now? Did you say?
Yeah, he's also at the university, so we still play together.
He's in Edinburgh University, so were you at school with him as well?
Yeah,
So you've known him for a long time, right?
yeah,
In
definitely.
relative terms to somebody that's 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Main competition growing up, that was definitely Callum Atterbury. So that's good. We'll move on to the current stages, I suppose. What clubs do you play now, and how often do you play? I suppose it's obviously present situation excluded. How often do you play normally? Just like recently, over the last year or so.
Yeah, so probably I'll play about 5 times a week now. We're quite lucky, because we have about 4 university sessions a week, and then we'll have a match every weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
And do you get to go and use the halls for free now in the university? Can you go in as just part of it, or do you have to pay?
The badminton club gets courts allocated for free, but then you have to pay if you want to play additionally.
That is amazing, isn't it?
It's really good.
That's worth a lot of money, that, by the way, isn't it?
It is.
That explains why you're also good at the university, because you do nothing else but play badminton. And can you play? Can you play through the day as well?
It's typically not during the day, but sometimes you get a court at 2 p.m. or something with our very wacky timetables and not having a proper job.
I know. And at the moment, I suppose with COVID, it's all been closed. So, but when it was open, could you go in as the sports halls open like during COVID over when the university's been closed? Is the sports still open?
Yeah, so we were lucky last year that Badminton Club was able to run. We just had to stick with Badminton Scotland restrictions, which were down to being on singles. But then lots of other sports clubs were doing contact sports, so weren't able to run. So we actually got more court time than we normally would because we took basketball slots and netball slots. So we're actually quite fortunate last semester.
You've been really lucky. I've been trying to contact Napier, and that facility at Napier University at the Engage Centre has just been closed the whole time, the whole year. You couldn't get in at all. So you're really lucky, I suppose. Is there a lot of people do sports up there? It's quite a good sports facility, isn't it? As a course, sports science, is it? I don't know what people do. What's the course? Yeah, sports science, isn't it?
I'm not sure if we have
Isn't
many
it?
sports science at Edinburgh. We've got quite a lot of PE teaching and
Yeah,
I
that's.
mean, virtually every course, I think.
I always drive down there, driving down the Pleasance, and you just see people with joggers on the whole time. I suppose maybe if your students go in the gym. Um, what's your current favorite racket? Not a Prince anymore.
I am using the Yonex Nanoray 700 FX.
New questions. Tension of strain do you prefer?
I get £26.
Any kind of string? Are you bothered? Are you quite a techie with string and stuff like that? Or are you not bothered really?
Not particularly. I was told BG65 when I was younger is a good one, so I've kind of stuck with that.
There's a lot of tech now, you know. If you speak to Andrew Ironside, he'll tell you there's so many different strings there. And now he was telling me about he does a lot of stringing, and he was telling me a new thing that people are now doing different tensions, vertical and horizontal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You ask him, does he get 20? Oh, I do 29. In fact, I was talking to Samuel Nissan earlier, who's a Malaysian player. He's 29 vertical and 27 horizontal. I don't know
I'll have
why.
to
I don't know
get
why.
clued up.
Yeah, I think it's just about. I think they can charge you more money to do that. So anyway, that's fine. You also get multicolored string now, don't you? You get whites one way and green the other, and all that. It's amazing. Um, family knife and badminton. You don't have any problem with that. How do you get? I suppose how do you get about when you do you drive or?
Yeah, so I mean, living in the centre of Edinburgh, most of the places that we play matches are on bus routes, so that's how we do it. But then in my final year at school, I started playing the senior Lothian League, and I had use of the car, so my parents could stop being the taxi service for me, which I think they appreciated.
Good. Your favorite event now. So is your favorite event? Do you still doubles? Do you still a doubles man? Or do you like?
I mean, I like it all. I like singles. You get a proper good sweat on and a run around that I enjoy. But I still love doubles as well.
Yeah. I was going to ask you a question about bacon. Didn't you do a cyclist cake?
I did make Chris Hoy out of
Chris
cake.
Hoy, that was it. Why are you into cycling, or is it just you just like Chris Hoy because he's a Scottish?
Um, not particularly into cycling. I'm big into Olympics, I think, and Chris Hoy's sort of all my, he's kind of top tier on my Olympic memories from growing up. So I immortalized him in cake.
Chris Hoy cake. I suppose you have a lot of time when you're in the bake-off to think about what you're going to do. In those 5 days, you must be spending a lot of time thinking, I'm going to do. Do you do a lot of time during that? Then back to caking, back to baking again. Do you spend a lot of time like preparing and thinking about, you know, thinking about what you're going to bake and all that stuff? And did you get a lot of time to think and practice that, or do you get unlimited time during the day to go and practice things?
So we prepped most of our recipes before actually going into the bubble. So we had a good amount of time to think through the challenges. They would give us briefs, and we'd have to come up with our recipes and our solutions to the briefs.
Oh. And what I think what I was thinking about was normally like whenever I watch it, you hear people saying, "Oh God, my family's so sick of eating this." But I suppose you didn't have that. You know, you didn't have a chance to make it and make it and make it and make it and make it over and over again. Or did you? Did you think, "Oh, I've made that wrong. I should have done that, or I'll do that next time," kind of thing? Did you get a chance to do that this time, or not really?
Yeah, we had a bit before we left, and we were developing them for the first run. I got to make them a few times and get the family to try them, so I could try to refine them as much as possible. But then, actually, when we were filming, because we did a kind of short 2 days on, 2 days off rotation, you didn't have much time to change them hugely when you were actually in the competition.
Yeah, it's good. Sorry, back to Babylon. Last question on Babylon. I'm sorry. Last two questions on Babylon. How do you? I suppose you're so young, it's difficult. Do you still feel very, very competitive? No, I want to ask you another question, actually. I want to go back a bit, if you don't mind. Did you travel a lot playing badminton? Did you go north, south, east, west? Did you ever go other than Boys Brigade, other than BBs? Did you go anywhere? Like tournaments?
No,
Yeah.
mainly sort of stayed in Scotland for tournaments. I haven't travelled a huge amount.
North or anything, Aberdeen or Inverness, anything like that? Was all east and west?
Yeah, I've gone up to. I think I've done the Highlands before, and it's sort of, it was mainly Glasgow. I think if I remember,
Yeah.
but I've sort of done most of the Scottish ones.
What do you think about the badminton east and west and stuff and the north and kind of like competition and stuff like that? It's very different east and west. Don't you think in badminton? You know, they very seldom come together. Not a lot, is there? Does it feel? I've never actually played badminton in Glasgow. Does it feel very different? I don't know. It's just got a very different feel somehow. Do you think? Are you aware of it?
I don't know. I think where I am right now with being at university, the nice thing is that there's all these people from different parts of the country that you played against. You met them at the big tournaments, at West of Scotland or East of Scotland or whatever. You met them there, and now everyone's gone to different universities across the country, and you're playing against them in these uni matches. So you get to the people that you maybe didn't know so well because they're from a different region and you're younger. You get to meet them now in a different light
Wow.
at uni, and everyone's. I think it's a really nice community, badminton in general, and so I'm enjoying that.
Yeah. Is there a uni league?
Yeah, there is.
Is there? And how does Edinburgh do compared to
Uh,
everywhere
we
else?
we were top of the Scottish League last year. We did
Wow.
well.
How many teams are there?
So there's 5 divisions of 6 teams, so 30 teams, I think.
Wow. So there's like a first division in Edinburgh play against the first division in Aberdeen and Glasgow and Dundee, I guess. Where else is there? So Aberdeen, Dundee, Glasgow, Edinburgh.
Yeah, so it's for the whole of Scotland, but you've got Strathclyde, Glasgow Cali, Glasgow, Dundee, Stirling, Aberdeen, Napier, Cunemu. Most of the unis have a team.
And do they play every week, every month? What?
Yeah, we have 10 matches a year for that league. So it's good. It's sort of every second week of term.
Brilliant. And do you play singles or doubles? What? Mixed?
It's a really good format. It's singles, doubles, and mixed. So you get to play a bit of everything.
Yeah, sounds brilliant. Really good. Actually, it almost takes over university time, does it?
Yeah, sometimes you forget that you have to actually study.
I know it's a great. Do you think it's a good? How do you feel about that? About the distraction from your studies? I mean, you're doing business. Is it business and accounts? Did you say?
Accounts and finance.
Accounts and finance. So it's very different, right? Very different. And do you feel? I'm always interested to know what you feel about playing badminton compared to other things, and what is about badminton that you chose. All the sports you could have played. What do you think is? Why do you think you choose badminton? You know, obviously you're quite sporty anyway, but why do you think you like badminton? I suppose is the main
Um,
question.
I think I would be pretty happy playing kind of any sport, and I think once you find one that you kind of improve at and get to a point at which you feel like you can play it quite well, I think it's enjoyable when you can do something well and you also have the ability to improve it at the time. Badminton, I just fell into it and I felt quite welcomed into it, and it's just stuck. So I think it could have been any sport, but I'm happy that it is badminton, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, so do I. And it's frustrating at the moment, isn't it, not being able to play? And how do you fill your time now, Pete? Without, do you still run or how do you? Because for me, it's a chemical thing. I start getting grouchy when I'm not doing anything, when I'm too laboured. I started this because as a distraction from stresses of work and everything else. How do you how do you relax? Don't tell me baking, or do you bake as well? Is that it?
Yeah, so baking, that is a big thing. But yeah, I was out for a run this morning, and we've turned the garage into a sort of, well, we've got a yoga mat out there and a couple of weights, so we've turned it into a makeshift gym right now, and that's quite important for me to
Tell me something.
keep a clear head.
Has your brother got a pop-up swimming pool? I swim.
Yeah, no,
Go on.
we
Sorry.
no, we haven't got that, but we could maybe shove him into the water of Leith and see him try and swim
I,
upstream. That would be good training.
I swim in Edinburgh, in Peebles, sorry. And when the pool was closed, there's a lady comes in and she says, when during, it was open for about a month there. I swim about 2 or 3 times a week. And as I was going in, I was seeing this woman. She says, "Oh, yeah, I've been swimming quite a lot." I says, "Really?" She says, "What about?" She says, "Oh, I bought a rectangular pool, right? Which is like a pop-up swimming pool, right?" So I thought, how do you swim in that? And she's if you have a look, you get to have a look, right? You get a strap that goes around your waist, right? That's literally got a rope behind it. You actually Google it. It's a swim trainer, right? And you can have a pool. Have you ever seen limitless pools? Have you ever seen that before?
No, not
Have you
no.
not? A limitless pool is a plunge pool which is about 10 feet long, right? And there's a fan, there's a pump at the front of it, right? And depending on, it's got a remote control, and as you swim along you can increase the tension against you, and you're just swimming against the current, right, solidly, right? But these are about 15, 20,000 quid. Brilliant. However, you can buy a rectangular swimming pool which is about, I think they're about, it's like a swimming pool with cardboard, with solid plastic sides. And in our mum's garage she puts this thing about 10 foot long, and you can get an elastic strap that goes around your waist and you can just swim with a band around your waist. And she was doing this for like an hour every morning. And eventually she had to stop because it started leaking, and mum thought she was starting to get subsidence.
Dear.
It's
Yeah, I
great.
don't think the folks are going to go for that.
No, in her garage, that's where she'd been swimming. I said, "Where have you been swimming?" "Oh, in my garage." So, has he been outdoor swimming? There's a lot of people doing that now. Has he gone outside?
Not. I think he did a little bit in the summer, but not in this winter lockdown.
Really popular now. Really popular. People. You've seen people online smashing the ice with a pickaxe to go in the pool for like 6 minutes, for swim for 6 minutes. Not for me. No, I think you've answered all my questions. Thank you. What does he love about badminton? I think you pretty much answered that. That's brilliant. It's just yeah, something to feel good about something, isn't it? I would agree with that completely. And yeah, it's a big de-stressor. And as you say, you've got baking. And do you bake very often still, or not? Does it feel like a job now? What do you think of that? Uh-huh.
Yeah, I suppose it's turned into a little bit of a job in some respects, but I still thoroughly enjoy it, and it's nice to now I've kind of got specified time that I bake, and it kind of makes me do it, and I feel
What? Sorry,
de-stressed
sorry.
after
Can
it.
can you go back a bit? Why have you got a specified time where you've got to bake? Or do you have a schedule, like you say, I'm going to bake between 4 and 5 kind of thing? Is that what?
Yeah, because well, I try and factor in sort of time to bake
Do you?
into my week, or else I will fill it with study or lectures or something like that. So it's like planning to go and play badminton. I have to factor it in, and then I know that it's going to make me feel better and feel good. So it's just put it
You
in
sound
the
like a
diary.
really, really organized person. I bet, are you really tidy?
In the kitchen, yes. In my room, probably not so much. But
That's amazing. Scheduling in. So if I looked at your calendar for the week, would it show like full of things?
yeah, it's pretty well organized.
I like it. Peter, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me, Martin.
I
It's been
hope
good to see you again.
it's been great to see you, and I can't wait to see you on court again. All the best, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
See you
so
soon.
much. Cheers. Thanks.